I am preaching a revolution of love. A revolution of love is the only thing that can solve the human problem. And the point about a revolution of love is that you proceed without plans. That is the plan. If there were plans, the system couldn't reveal in the way it wants to reveal what it wants to do, what God wants to do. Plans, in some sense, demonstrate a lack of faith in love. It's the moment when humanity really believes that God is there and behaves accordingly. That finally, that great superego that has been emerging in human consciousness as real finally wins because he is good. And consciousness sees that. I am preaching a revolution of love. It's about radically changing one's perception of one's consciousness. And then, because one is now relating to it in a more meaningful way, because one realizes that God imbues all things with excessive meaning, then one then proceeds strictly in love. That is to say, to love God first and foremost, so have the faith and strength in God that is with you all the time, and then just love your neighbor, those around you, as yourself. And let go of figuring it all out. We can't. The revolution of love is a revolution that spreads, and somehow love has this power to organize the system properly. And there's a lot, it's not just simple. There's elements to this. There's processes, there's behavior patterns that you can practice that will help people open their minds. And plants you can ingest that will help you open your minds. But ultimately, it's a revolution of love that saves the world. There is no secular solution for the human condition. It doesn't exist. We can look for it and look for it and look for it, and it's a lie. It's not the truth. It's the ego construction writ large. And the inertia of the system in the world as a capital producing engine has no concern for spiritual reality whatsoever. And now is the time when humanity realizes that spiritual reality is real and that we interface to it through God. And it's time humanity gets its concepts together and know that God is Jesus Christ. Because God is love. I am preaching a revolution of love. Excessively simple, incredibly difficult. I'm talking about reclaiming joy and reclaiming bliss and reclaiming that connection to the glow, the mystical glow, which we cut out by becoming adults in a sense, and trying to understand. What happens if we all stop understanding so much and start understanding differently? And start understanding just that God is real. And that He's controlling the show and He is love. And all other understanding is a kind of mental apparatus that's put distancing us from that. But love, if that's what's believed in A as the ontological truth and B as a living reality, and it's not hard, it's just gratitude and kindness and sweetness and self-examination, deep self-examination. And then something spreads, something grows, new possibilities begin to emerge about everything in ways that you can't predict. There's no plan that we can understand. There is a plan, but it's God's plan, and it happens in His order and His willingness to reveal what's going on to us. But you have to proceed in love without the plan, because the plan is just your attempt to control. And if you knew the plan, you'd already be there. It's like what happens when you die. You can't know because you're not supposed to know, because the thing is actually arranged somewhat aesthetically, and that's the main anxiety point of the human condition, which gives our lives meaning. By our confrontation with it and our overcoming of it in the knowledge of truth, which is God, who is Jesus Christ. Revolution has always been a disaster because there were plans involved, because there was some sense to conquer the world involved in revolution. I'm talking about a revolution of individual spirits to love, and then see what happens to the world. It's what Jesus Christ would preach. It's what I am being told to tell you. The revolution that releases humanity into the imaginatrix, into the bliss, into the understanding, is a revolution of love. And it's been waiting to bloom, and here it is. Because love is a structural reality that will release consciousness back into its own effervescent delight of itself. But there are existential dimensions to this that we must take seriously, about the way we relate to ourselves and our own consciousness and our own feelings and our own relationships to each other. But only in love can it emerge. Only in love can the answers percolate up to the surface about what to do, how to solve the problem, because love is always the answer, especially if it conquers fear of everything. Everything. Because joy wants eternity.